So if you wanted to get some help with more details beyond what we have here going, I'm going to show you guys how to do quickly some windows and doors, road, and just some like little details. So I'm going to add some more layers here. I'm going to make sure that above my ground layer but below my buildings is a layer called road. And we can even add another one. I'll show you how we can do some sidewalks. And then another option of, instead of having everything like your windows and doors for each building, you can make layers that are just windows, layers that are buildings. I'm going to make sure those are on top of my buildings so that they show up. So I'm going to click on there and add two more, double click. One will be windows, one will be doors, okay? Maybe one more. Well, I think that's enough right now, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, so we already had one, so I'm going to grab my selection tool for perspective and open this layer. It's this guy right here. I'm going to click this rectangle and put it into the doors layer because it belongs there. So I'm going to show you how to quickly do this. So you may have remembered that you can make a copy of something in Illustrator real quick. And as long as you're in the perspective selection tool, it will put it in perspective. So when you hold Alt Option and you click and you drag, it will make a copy and it will put it in perspective for you. Same color. So if you want a different color, you can make that different color. I can do the same thing over here. Click and hold and just tell it that now, whoops, it's over here. It's not seeming like it wants to be over there. Well, then let's just draw it. So I'm going to grab my M, keep it in my doors, make my door right about here in that color. Okay, so there's my doors. They're all in the same layer. When I select this, you can see all 1, 2, 3 are in there. I'm going to go to my windows, activate it, and I'm going to use again a gradient. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool. I'm going to start on the right side. Make sure your dark blue is selected. I'm going to Command plus so you guys can see. Put a couple windows here. And I want this to have a gradient. So in my gradient panel, I'm going to click on this. And I don't mind that blue and white, but I don't like that this is clear. So you can see how that's coming up. And that's because it probably, when I look at it, click on this, 0 opacity. So I'm going to raise that to like 90 to 100. And I'm going to make that white. So my swatches, make it white or maybe gray, like a light gray. So that's what I'm going to do. You can do what you'd like. Let's see here. And I'm just going to tell it to reverse. So I went and reversed it. You can see like that blue to light on this side. Okay, so with that, you're going to grab your perspective selection tool and quickly make some more windows by holding Alt Option, clicking and dragging. Let's make my windows a little bit smaller. Put one here. I'm going to click Alt Option and drag. You can get rid of this one now by clicking and deleting. Click Alt Option and drag. Okay, so that's that. That's how you would do that. Now, how do I do all three at the same time? While you're in the selection tool, you're going to hold Shift and select all three. Let go of Shift, hold Alt Option, and just drag that down. They're still selected, all three. You're still in the perspective selection. Hold Alt Option and drag those down. I'm using this grid to help me line things up. You might want one more. Let me see how that fits. So I accidentally hit Command Z there. To put it back, I hit Shift Command Z. Alt Option. It's not bad, but my door is too high. Maybe I lower it. Let's see what it looks like. It's all right. Building looks a little funny on that side, so I'm going to select that building on the side and just bring it up. There you go. So there's some windows there. I can do the same thing in my windows layer on this side. Do a couple more. I'm going to keep the same gradient. And just to make sure that things line up, I'm going to grab this and put it back over. Go to my rectangle tool. Let's see. Back to my selection tool. It's going to make that a little bit fit my buildings so that the grid lined up with that side. Rectangle tool. Maybe make some bigger windows. Let's see. Shift V, move that, decide where you like it. Alt Option, make a copy. Okay. So now I want to just take those two and make one more copy below. So I'm going to hold Shift. Now they're both selected. Now let go of Shift and hold Alt Option while you click and drag below. And there's two big windows on that. So that's what that looks like. Okay. Now if I want to do the same exact thing here, I can click, hold Shift, click, 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 Alt Option, still in my perspective selection tool, and bring it over. Line it up with the grid. I'm going to just Command plus to make sure that things are lined up. Okay. And you can click off. And if you want to resize it, you can. If I want to move this over, I can. Each building can be a little bit different. I'm going to make these windows just a little bit smaller than the one above it or to the left of it. And I'm only able to do that and keep in perspective by using this perspective selection tool. Okay, so that's that. And here and there you might want to hide your grid just so you can see what you're doing. So you might want to go to View, Perspective Grid, Hide, just for a second. And you can see, you know, this is what's going on. You can always change things if you'd like later on. You also want to get in the habit of hitting Command S, save. You should have already named it. Save wherever you'd like. Keep it in the format Adobe Illustrator and hit save so you don't ever lose your work. Okay, so let's talk about doing the road. So I'm going to grab my layers, highlight and activate the road. Put my grid back on. View, Perspective, Show Grid. Same grid should be there. And I'm going to make a little road right here. I want sidewalks for these buildings to sit on, so I'm not going to put it up into my building. So in the rectangle tool, I'm going to make sure that I'm on my ground or top layer, right? Right now we're going to be in ground for the road. Pick a fill. It's going to be a little bit darker than the cement I have right now. And I'm going to draw from here. So the road goes all the way from the back to there. So I'm going to say that's about where my sidewalk is, right? Let it go. And you can always go back to Shift V or click on your perspective selection tool and resize things. So there. In there. I want it to, just so you can click it off the artboard, that's fine. Anything that goes beyond the white into the gray just doesn't print. So there's that. Now with my same settings, still in the rectangle tool, I'm going to make a little, like the little dots, dashes that go in the road. So I'm going to make it light gray. And I'm going to put the dashes into the middle of the road, start in the front here so it's easier. Move that over. Make it skinnier. It wants to go from front to back. So I'm holding Alt Option, make a little copy, Alt Option, make a copy, Alt Option, copy, 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 all the way back. Just going to use my key, left key, to line that up. And then again, when you go to View, Perspective Grid, and Hide, you can see you have some dashes. And even though the grid is hidden, I can clean some things up. I'm using my arrow keys to move things around. Zoom in to get a better view. And then you're going to go to this, select the sidewalks layer, and you're going to select and activate that layer. And you're going to grab the rectangle tool, and you're going to click a gray that you'd like and make a sidewalk. Make sure it's below your building so that when you put it on there, it sits underneath. I'm just going to go View, grab my perspective grid again, and here we go. So I'm going to make my sidewalk start right here. It should sit underneath. I'm not going to have it go all the way to my road, so watch what I do. See how I line it up right here? And because it's below the layer, it's going to sit underneath. And I want it to be, actually I like that color. I'm going to keep that color and make this darker. And while I'm still in the ground, I'm just going to go over and jump to the other side. Put my other sidewalk in. You're just clicking and dragging. Click and drag, click and drag. You can let go and go to Shift V and rearrange this to what you want. So we left a space between the grid, one little space here. You can see I need to bring this out like that. Okay, so it mimics. So there's my sidewalk. Now I said I wanted to make this darker, so I'm going to select that, pick a darker color for the road, like that. All right, now this is the tricky part for the sidewalks. You're going to make the sides of the sidewalks, but they're actually going to be in the blue, the dark blue left and right side. And I'm just going to choose a color that's a little bit darker than this, but lighter than my road. Rectangle tool. I'm in the dark blue. And I fill in that gap in between the road and the sidewalk. Grab my selection tool, perspective selection tool. Fill it in and resize. Okay, so that would be one. Gives you an idea of what to expect when I hide the grid. This is what it would look like. So now you have a road, sidewalk,